You know, it's pretty amazing how just a couple of words can hold so much meaning, right? Well, today we're going to dive deep into one of those terms from the Quran. And trust me, it unlocks something huge about the book itself. Okay, so our starting point, our big clue, comes from this amazing verse in Surah Al-Hijr. God is talking right to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and says, he has given him two incredible gifts. One is the great Quran, and the other is seven of the often repeated. Wow. I mean, that's a powerful statement, but it also leaves us with this beautiful little mystery. So that's the big question, isn't it? What are these seven oft-repeated verses? To figure this out, we're going to have to put on our detective hats and dig into the actual language of the Quran. All right, time to decode the clues. Like any good detective, we've got to look at the evidence, which means breaking down the original Arabic words in that verse. Let's get into it. Okay, our first clue is pretty straightforward. The word is sab'wan, and that just means seven in Arabic. Easy enough, right? So we're looking for something that comes in a set of seven. Got it. Let's tuck that clue away for a second. Now for the second clue, mathani. This is where it gets really juicy. The root of this word means to repeat, which is why you see it translated as oft repeated. But, and this is a big but, it can also mean things that come in pairs. That double meaning is super important, so definitely keep that in mind. All right, we've got our clues, the number seven and this idea of oft repeated or in pairs. Now we can start looking for our prime suspect. And you know what? Most scholars for centuries have pointed to one clear answer. So let's just think this through for a second. What part of the Quran has exactly seven verses and is repeated all the time? I mean, constantly, by millions and millions of people, every single day, all around the globe. Anything coming to mind? Yep, you probably guessed it. The answer is Surah Al-Fatiha, the opening, the very first chapter of the Quran. It's just one of those answers that fits so perfectly you can hear it click into place. And it makes so much sense, right? Let's tick the boxes. Does it have seven verses? Yep, exactly seven. Check. Is it repeated often? It's in every single daily prayer. You can't get more oft repeated than that. Plus, it's literally called the opening, and it's seen as the core summary of the whole Quran. I mean, it's a perfect fit. So, case closed, mystery solved. Or is it? Well, not so fast. Because as you know, with the Quran, there are always deeper layers. And while Al-Fatiha is a fantastic answer, some scholars think Al-Mathani could also be pointing to something even bigger. So get this, some scholars believe that Al-Mathani, the oft-repeated, isn't just about Al-Fatiha, but it could be a name for the entire Quran. I mean, think about that verse again. God says he gave the prophet the seven oft-repeated and the great Quran. What if those aren't two different things? What if they're two ways of describing the same incredible gift? So you see, we've got these two amazing layers of meaning. On one hand, Al-Mathani is something really specific, the seven verses of Al-Fatiha, part of our daily worship. But on the other hand, it's this huge, sweeping concept, the entire Quran as something we come back to our whole lives, packed with themes and lessons we revisit over and over. So you might be asking, how is the whole Quran oft repeated? Well, think about it. If you've spent time with the Quran, you've seen it. Stories of the prophets show up in different places, each time with a slightly different focus. Big ideas like mercy and justice are woven throughout the entire text. And hey, remember that in pairs meaning of mathani? The Quran is full of pairs. Heaven and hell, mercy and justice, what to do and what not to do. The whole thing is designed with this beautiful structure of repetition and pairing to really drive the points home. Okay, so we've unpacked the word, we've looked at the clues, but so what? Why does this even matter? What's the bigger lesson here? Well, it's all about understanding what makes faith and learning actually work. And this is really the heart of it. We live in a world that's always chasing the next new thing, and we can sometimes think of repetition as, well, boring. But spiritually, it's the exact opposite. Repetition isn't about being redundant. It's about reinforcement. It's how things stick. It's how we truly learn something and make it a part of who we are. And you see this in action everywhere in faith. First, in worship. Saying Al-Fatiha in prayer isn't just reciting words. It's hitting the reset button on your soul, multiple times a day. Then there's learning. The way you understand a verse when you're 15 is totally different from how you see it at 45. Every time you come back, you find something new. And finally, it all comes down to relationship. The more you return to the divine message, to the Muthani, the stronger that connection gets.
So, in the end, whether we're talking about those 7 specific verses or the whole beautiful Quran, the message of Al Mathani is huge. It's a reminder to find meaning and beauty not just in what's new and shiny, but in what's familiar and true. And it leaves us with a pretty big question for our own lives, doesn't it? What do we really find? What new layers do we uncover when we commit to returning to the things that matter most over and over and over again?